It's my first Facebook Live. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never done this before. I've only ever seen one, but I thought it would be a great way for me to talk to all the new people and help you out with any questions that you want to have. So I am looking into my phone. I can see myself. I cannot see you. I cannot see Facebook. So I have no idea if anybody is there, how many people are there, if you're asking me questions. I just have no idea. I see a few hearts, so I think you're there. So thanks for coming. Originally, this was just going to be a couple of minutes, and I just wanted to test it out, see how it worked, get familiar with it. But this morning, there was a big conversation about soldering tie-tack pins on the back of a metal clay element, as opposed to embedding the tie-tack pin and firing it in place. And I just wanted to talk about that for a minute or two. Doing everything in the kiln is not necessarily the best way to go about making jewelry. Metal clay is a material, just like 18-gauge sheet is a material, just like jump rings are a material, or split rings. And you make choices when you make your work about what is going to make your work last long, be sturdy, not break, be beautiful, all those different choices that you make when you're creating a piece. So my thought is that just because you can fire a fine silver or even sterling silver finding in the kiln does not mean that's the best choice. It may seem to you the easiest choice because that's what you're used to. But it might not be the best choice. Fine silver is very, very soft. Sterling silver is very, very soft. So the best choice, in my opinion, would be to solder a commercial finding on the back until you become an absolute expert at every facet of jewelry making. Then you can make your own decisions. But I am never going to get to that point. I really am not. And so what I would do is I would go to Rio or another vendor and I would get a nickel tie-tack pin and I would solder it. And I know that soldering seems really scary and it's really hard and you're not used to it, and I know that lots of people, you just get scared off by the idea and you just don't even want to go there. I feel that way about the silhouette. I am scared about technology. I am flabbergasted that I'm using this technology right now, and I don't even want to go to the silhouette. I don't even want to find out about it, although I know that I could make templates with it and it would really help in my work. But I'm not going there because it scares me, so I understand. But there are all kinds of tools and things you can use that make soldering ever so much easier, and I thought I would show you my soldering setup. This is not a soldering class. I'm not going to be doing any soldering. I just want to show you my setup. So I'm going to change the angle of my phone right now, and you are going to type into Facebook so I can read it later and tell me what it looks like so that I know if it's really clumsy or if it's perfectly okay, all that kind of stuff. Okay, here we go. Changing. Oh, changing not so very well. All right, can you see my soldering setup right here? So this is the torch that I use. I really like it. I cannot remember what it's called, but most of the metal clay suppliers have it, and Amazon definitely carries it. And I use this for almost all of my soldering needs. I don't solder big belt buckles. I don't need a lot of flame. This particular torch, the igniter, broke. So I'm going to light it with a cigarette lighter. So you pull down on this little safety catch and you hold the button in, and allegedly now there should be flame coming out, and then you push back on this little red tab, and that keeps the flame going. So here is my lighter, and I'm going to light it from the side. And can you see that flame now? I light it from the side because there is a certain amount of wind that comes out with fire. If you think of a forest fire, you know, there's always a lot of wind. So the wind would have blown out the flame of the lighter. That wind can also blow around things on your soldering board. Here I go, I'm going to turn it off now. Oh, I want to show you carefully, because this is now aimed at me. Oh, that's the joys. All right, so there's a little slide on the opposite side, and that changes the flame. So that's also really useful. Okay, I'm going to turn it out now. I'm going to push forward, and that turns off the butane. I use triple filtered butane that I get from Amazon. It says 14 here, and that's kind of hype. All you need is triple filtered, but if they have 14 filtered, whatever, just buy it. And I usually buy 3 cans at a time, and I just, you know, keep them around because you never want to run out of butane. When I get down to the last can, I order 3 more cans. So if you look over here, this is a third hand. Jewelry suppliers like Rio will carry it, and it's got a cross-lock tweezer. And I'm going to be using a great big mandrel instead of a teeny tiny earring post or tie tack, because I doubt you'd see it. So you open the jaws and you put the tip of the tie tack or the earring post. This is the pad if you're buying one with the pad, or it's the part that is going to be soldered to your piece. So the part that's going to be soldered is down, and you just put the tip in the clamp of the tweezers. This is a rotating pumice pan, and it is meant to anneal metal. I like it because I like that rotating feature, although I'm sure you could rig up a Lazy Susan. I just bought it. And then I've got 2 solderite boards on top and a bunch of little broken pieces. I like to be able to prop things up and move things around so that the pieces that I'm soldering are set up in the best way possible for them. So I've also got this nifty little thing, which is 3 nails soldered together, fused together. It's not soldered, it's, what do they do in blacksmithing? I don't know, but it's stuck together. Welded together. And that will help to keep a piece down if you need to weight it down or something. So this is an enameling trivet, but sometimes you want to heat from the bottom of the piece. You want the flame to come from the bottom. And oftentimes those big tripods are a heat sink, and your piece will never get hot enough. So I just put things up on the trivet. And the way I do it, if you can imagine that this polishing pad is my base piece, I set it up so that the head of my head pin, my post, my tie tack, whatever, is ever so slightly below the surface. And then I pick up the third hand from the base, and I can put it right into place. And it's holding my earring post in place. All I have to do now is solder, 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 and that's all I'm paying attention to. I don't have to worry about holding things and soldering and double tasking. I'm a really bad double tasker. So I just thought I would show you this little setup as my test for my very first Facebook Live thing. I'm hoping to do more of these. If you could leave me a message and tell me what you thought of it. If you've got questions that you'd like me to cover in a Facebook Live, that would be great. I'm all ears. I'd love to hear about it. And I think I'm going to be done now because I'm a little nervous and I've run out of things to say. So thank you very much for coming to this first test. I hope you got some good information out of it. And I will see you on Facebook.